Have you ever felt like your life was on repeat? The same struggles, the same mistakes, same frustrations. But guess what? It's a different day. But it's the same thing, the same struggles, the same mistakes, the same frustrations. And you tell yourself, you know what, this time is going to be different. It's going to be different. I'm gonna keep my mind set on it, and it's going to be different. And you try to move forward, but somehow you end up right back where you started. Let me say it like this: you're not lost. You're not lost. You may feel lost, but you're not lost. You're stuck in a roundabout. Have you ever been in a roundabout and you don't know how to get off that, and you end up going in a circle a couple times because you're in the wrong lane of a roundabout or something like that. And we have one here in Fernley, Nevada, and it's a common topic that everybody here talks about. It's always has a lot of traffic, and when you have somebody in there that doesn't know how to navigate in it, it becomes very frustrating. And life is kind of like that. You feel lost sometimes, but we're just stuck in a roundabout. And a roundabout keeps you moving. It keeps you moving, but sometimes it's not progressing. And you're active, but not advancing. You're not getting to where you want to get. And spiritually, a lot of people live this way. They're stuck on the Sunday roundabout. I need Sunday to Sunday in order to get me through the whole week. And we tend to maybe respond to the message, and we go to the altar, and we seem to find ourselves spiritually in that spiritual roundabout, always on repeat, feeling like we always end up where we started and never advancing. And, we go through the same motions and try again and again, but never actually breaking the cycle. And the question becomes, how do I get off this roundabout? How do I get off this roundabout? How do I keep on moving forward? And we actually, in Deuteronomy, we see God's people wandering in the desert for 40 years when their journey should have taken a lot less time. Why? Because they kept going in circles. Maybe they're the original roundabout creators. They kept on going in circles. It wasn't because their journey and the distance was far. It was because they just kept on going in the same patterns, in the same circle. It wasn't because it was a distance problem. I think sometimes when we think that they were in the wilderness for 40 years, that they traveled thousands of miles. Well, they traveled thousands of miles, but it was within a condensed area. It was just a few miles that they traveled. It was a mindset and obedience problem. You see, a roundabout life is built on repeated patterns. So cycle just doesn't just happen. They're built into us on repeated choices and repeated thinking and repeated reactions. Sometimes we're raised in that and we don't know any different kind of pattern. And if nothing changes in our life, if we don't change the pattern, then nothing changes. You don't just end up in the same place. You return there because of patterns. And your patterns are producing your outcome. So if patterns keep you stuck, you have to identify what the pattern is. Most people stay stuck because they never stop long enough to ask this simple question: why do I keep ending up here? The same relationship issues, the same habits, the same spiritual struggles. But until you identify the pattern, you'll repeat it. You can't break what you don't confront. I mean, think about David. Goliath stayed victorious because the Israelites stayed hidden. But it was David who finally confronted the giant, and it changed the pattern and the outcome. And once you see it, now comes the hard part. Change requires a different response. If you keep responding the same way, you'll keep getting the same results. And so at some point, you have to choose a different action, a different mindset, a different decision. I think of Romans 12:2. It says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That means change starts internally. It starts inside before it becomes externally. But here's why most people don't do it. Comfort. Comfort keeps you in the cycle. Even if the cycle is frustrating, it's familiar, and familiar feels safe. In fact, for some people, they thrive in chaos because that's all they've ever known. When things in life start to get quiet, they don't know how to respond any different. And so sometimes we create our own chaos because it's more comfortable in the noise. And because it's familiar. And so we stay in habits we know, and we in thinking that we know, and patterns that we know, even when it is hurting us or even hurting others. You see, you can't stay comfortable and expect change. Imagine driving in a roundabout, and you could stay there forever. you could stay in that roundabout and keep on circling over and over and over again. But the only way forward is this: you have to take an exit. You have to take an exit. And that exit might feel uncomfortable, but it might feel uncertain, but it's the only way to move forward, to get to your destination. So let me ask you, where are you stuck? Where are you stuck in a cycle today, right now? And more importantly, what's the exit you've been avoiding? Because you already know it. It's the conversation, the habit, the decision, the step of obedience. And you don't have to stay stuck in the cycle. You don't have to keep repeating the same season. God didn't create you to go in circles. He created you to move forward. He set the Israelites free from Egypt to get to the promised land, but because of choices and disobedience, they kept on finding themselves in a roundabout. So, what is the decision? You're just one decision away from stepping out of the roundabout. So what is it? What is it? Because God created you to move forward and not live in the roundabout. So if this spoke to you today, don't just move on from it. In other words, click the like, all that fun stuff, and then forget about it. I want you to take a step and make the change and choose the exit, because you don't have to keep going in circles. You don't have to live a life of repeat. And if you know someone who feels stuck right now, send this to them. It might be the moment that helps them move forward. And I would love to hear from you. What's one area you're ready to step out of the cycle? Drop it in the comments below, and I would love to join you in prayer and believe and walk with you in this season. Man, we don't have to live in that roundabout lifestyle. We don't have to live on repeat. God wants us to move from one step to the next step in the journey that we're on in our faith journey. Hey, I love you. I appreciate you. I'm on this journey of unhindered faith because we serve a God who's not hindered by our situations that we face. And that's why no matter what we go through in life, we could live a life with unhindered faith. Have a blessed week.